Fuck WordPress. This is Corey, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 264 of the O The Anthem podcast, coming to you from the hashtag OTA LA studios, high above the 110 freeway in downtown Los Angeles, California. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for downloading on your podcatcher of choice, rating if it's possible, reviewing if it's possible, and telling friends because we all have friends. And yeah.
And, of course, you can find more O The Anthem at O The Anthem on Instagram and Twitter. You're watching live right now at facebook.com/O The Anthem. You can find all more videos at youtube.com/O The Anthem. And for the time being, you can find us at wordpress.otheanthem.fuckyou.com. Now, check out everything O The Anthem related at otheanthem.com. For the moment, hosted at WordPress. Still attempting to take care of that issue.
Yeah, I just as a thing up front, if you're listening to the sound of my voice and you're thinking about making a website on WordPress and you ever want to move it anywhere,
Yes.
just think twice about that part because we promised at the 5-year anniversary show that we were going to have the new website up soon.
Yeah,
and I've literally gone through dozens of emails with WordPress where I keep saying, I don't think you're listening to what I'm trying to say. Like, I wait like 3 days and then I get an email and it's just like, no, actually what happens is this. And then I'm just like, no, that's not the question I asked.
Yes, yeah.
Somebody pick up a goddamn phone. And they're like, we don't have phones here. I'm just like, smuggle one in. Like,
you know what I realized is I lost my own WordPress website. Well, I lost the .com.
Yeah.
Got disconnected from the WordPress site. So maybe I could try to hack into my own WordPress because I don't remember the password and see did all the blog posts go back?
Disappear?
Yeah, or did they go to like WordPress or foundingthefuture.wordpress.com or did they stay at foundingthefuture.com or what? So maybe I'll do that. I'll try to log on and see.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes. So new website's still coming. Plan is in effect.
Wait
We're
patiently. We'll be there soon.
You know what I realized about your fantastic Michelle Branch shirt?
Yeah.
It has green leaves on it.
Oh, that's right. It does.
I can see the city right through you, Corey.
Oh, that's crazy. That's funny. It's so fun because I don't have any like green that I usually wear on a everyday basis.
Yeah,
so.
not a thing.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to deal with it. Yeah, I was watching High Maintenance. I don't know if you've ever watched that show on HBO.
I was going to say, I know it's on HBO. I just haven't seen it. It's like the weed delivery or something like that.
And it's the kind of thing where like you get invested, but it's not particularly funny, but it's like amusing and it's not like super dramatic, but like you're involved in these people's lives and people come and go and you see them later, but it's all random coincidence, or it seems to be.
Maybe it's the type of show where the people who made it are just like 75 to 90% of the people who are going to be watching the show are going to be watching it very high.
Yeah.
So that the jokes don't have to be like 100% funny. They can be.
It's more amusing.
It can be B+ jokes and it's going to be a lot funnier to the people who watch it. Like.
So one of the episodes is a lot of the characters we've seen in previous seasons show up on a movie set. And it turns out they all work together on occasion.
Okay.
And this particular movie, they're doing reshoots and nobody's having it. They just don't care. And one of the girls walks to set and says, I'd really like to wear this particular scarf. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to keep it. After she'd already changed the boots, meaning that her shoes were not in continuity with previous scenes. And now the scarf was going to be out of continuity. And the director's just like, yeah, no, sure. That sounds like a great idea. And as she walks away, the first AD looks at him and he's like, what are you just going to let her go? And he like smiles at the first AD and he's like, scarf's green. And then they both sit down. So they sit down, and then for the first time it's revealed. So again, funny joke, because in the context, you know what I'm going to say next. They pan around to the scene, and the girl sits down, and of course, there's a huge green screen that she's about to perform in front of. And you're like, oh, okay, so yeah, he's just going to make that nothing. That's cool. Yeah, we can get around that. Anyway, High Maintenance on HBO. I recommend that. Or if you feel like staying home, maybe watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no spoilers here. Just before people panic and start turning off their.
No, yeah, I would not want to talk.
I wouldn't be able to spoil it anyway because I don't even know what the fuck it's.
He hasn't seen very much of it at all.
I've seen one episode.
Oh, you know who's
of which I've watched like 5 times and still don't understand what I.
You know the worst kind of spoilers.
What?
Where they're not spoiling the episode, they're just drunk and shouting in the room. Like, hey, who's that person? And it's like, listen, I don't have the time nor the attention span to explain to you the last 7 seasons of who this person is and why it's so important that we know what happens. All I can tell you right now is shut the fuck up because I need to find out what happens.
Is this Jon Snowstorm?
Is that a Stark? I know the Starks are a family. Is that a Stark? What's the dragon's name? Anyway, so that's the worst kind of spoilers.
Billy.
Billy, yes. That's
Billy
it.
the Dragon.
Billy the Dragon. Puff. His name is Puff. But
you should have just filled in with like fake stories or like stories from other shows. When she's just like, who's this guy? And it's just like, well, he was working in an auto parts store, but eventually he became the manager of the Cleveland Indians when they were trying to lose as many games on purpose as possible and move the team to Miami.
I would do that, but
that was
like,
Jon Snow's backstory?
I feel like that's a movie she's seen. What I would have to do is go with like a good movie that she hasn't seen. Like
Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, you know. Something like that. So there'll be no spoilers for Game of Thrones. What we'd ask you is to also not send us spoilers from Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Because we will not be seeing that until next Saturday when we go as a celebration both of life, because isn't it great to be alive in the time of Marvel, and
Roberto's
our buddy's birthday.
Yeah.
Yes. Roberto, friend of the show, Roberto's birthday, which will be May 5th. And if you're keeping track of your calendars, May 5th is a special day for the podcast. We'll be going out late that night and going to see a movie at 11.
Yeah, something
which
like
means we will be getting home from that movie approximately 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And
probably,
then,
home. Yeah.
home, yeah. And then waking up at a decent hour and getting drunk all day because it's Drinko de Mayo again. Make sure you come and hang out with us on Sunday afternoon, May the 5th. We'll be doing Drinko de Mayo. The birthday boy will be here with us and hopefully doing refereeing. Then I had to get up and go to work on Monday, which seems like the most awful mess of a weekend I have ever put together for myself.
I was trying to see if I could see like a building through my shirt.
Yeah, I could see the lights of a building through your shirt right there. Yeah,
That's
street
so
lights.
funny.
Street lights right in your chest.
Funny.
So come and join us next Sunday when we do Drinko de Mayo. We will go see Avengers Endgame before that, so don't spoil it for us, please.
And we won't spoil it either. We won't.
Of course, when we get
Yeah.
we'll have to have Roberto make sure that we don't release any spoilers.
I'll make sure that he's quick on the mute button just in case.
Yeah. Hey,
Just
this is
be
the
like-
only important button.
Be like, hey, you remember that one part where Iron Man? I was saying something.
Oh, or anything Avengers related. Those are words.
Yes.
Those are words.
That's a drink.
And speaking of which, since it's going to be next week, we really should get everybody out there to start sending in those words.
Absolutely.
So that's an idea. Avengers could be some of the words, or anything from the
Let's
universe.
fill in again, just for anybody who
Oh, yeah,
might
of
be
course.
joining us for the first time, or hasn't joined us since a Drink in Mayo. Basically, what we do is we have a normal podcast, and people give us, our listeners give us the suggestions of what we talk about, and then certain words in relation to that conversation become hot words, like drinking words.
Yes.
So every single time you say something, like say it's Avengers, and we're going to lead the conversation towards talking about the Avengers, but if I accidentally say it, then I have to take a shot of tequila.
Yes.
And traditionally, drink, drank, drunk are like sort of the legacy words.
For anyone who ever lives on a college campus for any length of time, if you played Kings, Ace was always make your own rule.
Yeah.
And the worst rule was you cannot say drink, drank, or drunk.
Right.
Because you would immediately forget it. Actually, maybe that's the second worst rule next to the little man. Did you ever have the little man?
Oh, yeah. You got to take the little man off.
Off the cup before you take a drink,
Yeah.
and then remember to put him back up top. I hated the fucking little man. But drink, drank, or drunk was the second worst because the drunker you got, the more you wanted to talk about how drunk you were. And yeah, it sucked. So that's where it comes from. We're going to try not to say the forbidden words, and we'll inevitably get drunk. Go back and relive Drinko de Mayo 1 through 5. In 1, Corey let loose with a scream that, or a sound, not really a scream, a sound.
I was like,
that is inhuman, and then proceeded to nearly die by alcohol poisoning.
If nothing else, just literally go to the video and just watch my face, like as I'm saying, "Don't do this," like the "Don't do this at home" video, because I look like I've literally died. Like my whole face is like gray and like there's like these black. I look like who is that actor who was also like oh god, I can't even remember. Big huge bags under his eyes.
Anyway. Abe Vigoda?
Yeah, well, sure. That'll work.
He has bags, right? Yeah. So check out the last 5 episodes. Join us for episode 6 next Sunday, May the 5th. And we'll not talk about Avengers spoilers. We'll not talk about Game of Thrones spoilers, but maybe those will be the words. And make sure in the meantime you get us your suggestions. You can, of course, put those in at many, many places. At O The Anthem on Twitter and Instagram. O The Anthem here on Facebook. Or you can send an email to Corey at otheanthem.com. Or you can send him DMs, basically, anywhere. Including
or
in the
Rob
comment
at
section here.
otheanthem.com. If you don't want to talk to me, you just want to...
I forgot.
You
I
want to
have
send
Rob.
them to Rob personally.
I don't know. Where does that go? Does that dump anywhere?
It goes to a mailbox that you have access to online.
I have not been checking that. Maybe, did I ever tell you the story about the inbox that we discovered after 2 years at work?
No.
Yeah, there's a link on our webpage, and apparently it goes to an email box, and nobody knew. Nobody knew for 2 years. So when I found it, it had 7,000 unread emails in it, and it gets about 100 a week. So
there was once when I was working at Nelson's where I got a call from somebody, and they're just like, "Hey, I ordered sauces like a month ago, and I haven't gotten them yet. Are they on their way? Like, this seems like it's a long time." And I'm like, I ain't never got an email about this.
Yeah.
And then I went on to like PayPal, which is where like all the orders were like went to after they paid for them. And I looked, and there were like 17 orders in the past month that I didn't fill. I'm like, oh fuck, these were not sending through, and I was completely unaware that.
yeah, that'll happen. But by the way, how long you're gonna sit for a month and not like you don't get a tracking number, you get nothing. You're like, they'll send them to me. Trusting people.
Eventually, it'll get here.
Eventually, I'll have it.
At least that was in the day before like Amazon 2-day Prime, because I feel like that's ruined like every business because of it.
But wait,
Just like,
how long?
I have to wait 7 to 10 business days before I get this shit?
You are out of your mind. You need to get back on Prime. What's up?
I will drive to San Francisco and pick the thing up from your warehouse because I don't have time.
Well, yeah. So speaking of Avengers Endgame, that will be for me the second. It is. Have you used your stubs?
No, not yet.
So for Corey, it'll be maybe the first time of using our brand new AMC Stubs A-List subscription.
The worst name ever. I love the idea of the program is great. The name is terrible.
Well, wait, which part of it? Which part of it is terrible?
I think it's the fact that it's too many things all at once.
Yeah.
Like AMC is the company. So
Yes.
I mean like what made it MoviePass so great is that you could just say like,
MoviePass.
oh, I'm going to go use MoviePass tonight to see Black Klansman or something,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
And then it wasn't like MoviePass Movie Club or something. There wasn't a second part to it.
Yeah.
So they already have the Stubs program as
Yes.
part of like their loyalty program.
Which, by the way-
then they have to differentiate between the different levels of Stubs, which is where the A-list comes in. So
Yes.
like the whole thing becomes AMC Stubs A-list, and then you're just like,
I also am
All right.
very angry with AMC because I had like 40,000 points on my stubs that did not transfer when I upgraded to A-List. Now, to be fair, we get free upgrades on drinks and soda, or drinks and popcorn, and like one trip to the movies has now paid for the entire month.
yeah.
So I'm not that upset. It's a principle of the thing. Like,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a lot of money to get those points at that time, and now I don't care as much. But nonetheless, so we have joined AMC A-List, despite the fact that there are no AMC theaters downtown. We are going to ride out to Burbank to go see Avengers.
You know, I would really like, and I think it would be convenient for both of us if we wanted to like go see a movie after you got off work or something, is do the one at Universal City Walk.
And I do think
Because you could take the metro to the station right across from Universal.
Yes. The one caveat I would say is that we need to plan that ahead of time because you need to be like at the Western and Hollywood station at like 6.
Yeah.
So that I can join you, and then we're at the theater at like 6:30. Because the difference is getting back from Universal to downtown is going to be a bear at like 11 o'clock. Trains only run every half hour, and they still stop and hold at every state. It's like a pain in the ass. So
Yeah.
I would just really want to get there to like the 7 o'clock movie So that we're
Yeah.
out by like 9 and on.
And that's fine. I just think that, like I would never go to that theater and pay full price for a ticket.
$22 for a ticket. Fucking tourist.
I thought it was more than that.
Well, no, just for a regular 2D.
Oh, yeah,
22.
yeah.
I mean, now that we're A-list subscribers, we don't watch regular movies anymore.
Everything 3D.
Everything 3D. It's not, sir, this is not even a 3D. I don't care. Put it in a 3D movie.
Charge me for 3D anyway.
I'm not paying for
I
it.
want to see Shazam in 3D.
First of all, Shazam was a good movie.
Pay more money. I want to pay more money for it. And by paying more money, I mean I want you to pay more money for it. And then I want the glasses still. I still want to wear the glasses in the theater.
The glasses is the whole thing.
Yeah.
By the way, Shazam is a good movie. You have no idea.
All right. Well,
You should go see it. It's a fun experience at the movies. Ask Jim. I'm sure Jim had a good experience at the movies at Shazam.
I'll look into Jim's review.
Yes.
I just can't like DC like now that we're at the end of Avengers, and
Yes.
again, no spoilers
not
because
at
I don't
the
even
end-
know
we're
anything.
not at the end of
Well, I mean, like
Avengers.
we're at the end of this phase of Avengers.
Phase 4 is done.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going into Phase 5, which, by the way,
We're at the end of Phase 3, going into Phase 4.
is it 3 to 4?
Yeah.
Okay, but we already know that there are several movies out there. Black Panther 2 is coming.
and there's-
Spider-Man 2 is
and
coming.
some of the characters who are in this iteration of the Phase 3 are going on to Phase 4.
Yeah, and some of
some
them-
people aren't.
Some of them, no spoilers because I have no idea. But in the comic books, not the Hawkeye, the dude with the wings, Falcon,
Yeah.
becomes another character, and I think that's probably what they're going to do. They're going to look into the comic books and shift some people around into different roles, and then anyway. Not
Well,
important.
anyway,
Look that up. It's fun.
But DC just we got into the end of 10 years of Marvel carefully crafting this whole thing to this point
Yes.
where we can enjoy it. And like DC just constantly just like making one good movie and then one terrible movie and then one good movie and then one terrible movie. And then sometimes going like, yeah, we'll just like Christopher Nolan make 3 Batman movies. And they're the best things that you've ever seen. And then
They're
just
not
go,
canon.
Yeah, but then like also like saying like like oh let's just make Aquaman and then like that being fucking terrible.
First of all, Aquaman was also great. You're a horrible person who just has to not like things. But what I
mean
will
like
say
I'm
is
really excited about
Wonder Woman 84,
well not that as much as the Joker.
the new Joker movie,
Yeah.
which also not canon. By the
Yeah,
way.
it's just gonna be like a one-off. But I'm saying like
Well, no,
I
no.
would-
They said it might not be a one-off, but it will clearly not be canon. With
it'll
the
be
universe
more
they're
in the
building.
vein of the Nolan Batman
Yes.
franchise
Yes.
where it will stand alone from what they're building. But I'm saying like if you have someone like Christopher Nolan who's willing to make some Batman movies,
Yeah.
why not just make it so that you can set up the universe? Give a great director the opportunity to just run free and like just stay within the general lines of what Feige type for DC sets up, and don't just try and shove it down our throats because the first Avengers took like 6 years to get to or something like that,
Yeah.
5-6 years to get to, and like they
Slow
tried to
burn.
get Justice League out like the next year. They did Batman, Superman, and then immediately tried to jam Justice League down our
Yeah.
fucking
By the
throats.
way, you didn't have to catch up to Avengers. I would have preferred that these development cycles were off, but you know.
Well, I mean, like, and you got a lot of people, like, specifically this weekend with, big Game of Thrones episode,
Yeah.
big Avengers, release. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that have been building to this moment for a lot of people. And I don't mind if these things are kind of spread out a little. Like, if next year would have been the Justice League year.
Or
where
2
they had
years from now.
finally built up to that
Yeah.
point, like.
But by the way,
But you have to have a good plan to begin with. And then the problem is if you have a really shitty plan, you kind of have to throw away the people who even the people who work in the shitty plan.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, like you're getting rid of your Batman, you're getting rid of your Superman, but you got a Wonder Woman and Aquaman locked down.
Here's
but then, like when you go into like setting up for this whole thing, like it just doesn't work anymore.
2 things. Number 1, I don't remember the first point.
Why not the second? And let's see if it relates.
So the first point is that Roberto and I discussed this, and we are in agreement that DC is really good at non-Batman, non-Superman movies. They're really good at those. I know you didn't, but I liked Suicide Squad. I liked Aquaman.
I didn't even see Suicide
Yeah,
Squad.
I like Suicide Squad. I liked Aquaman. For everything I see about this Joker movie, I'm gonna love that.
Yeah.
I loved Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was another one. No, that's it, right?
Yeah,
that's basically it.
Well, but I mean, like the problem was that like they so many times they false started these things too. Like
Yeah.
they made the the Brandon Routh Superman movie and then completely gave up on it. And then it was some other guy. And then it was that movie was bad. And then it was good. And then they made Justice League. Then they made Batman vs Superman was bad. And then they made Justice League, which was worse. And then like it's just.
I think
like
so.
The key component here is Feige. Feige and Marvel
put it all together.
Put it all together and kept everybody in line and was able to bring in great directors and let them do what they do. Like to have Waikiki do the Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Like, and let him interject his own personality and stuff like that into it. Just made it like
here's
that much
4
better.
points I need you to hit, and this is where I need you to be at the end.
Yeah.
Just do that.
And here, sit down with the Russo brothers over lunch this weekend and talk about where they're thinking about going with Endgame and stuff like that. Yeah. And then you could just it would be great for all these other people. You know, you're meeting all the A-list stars Hollywood has to offer. You're sitting down with other directors. You're part of this collaborative process rather than just throwing shit against the wall and hoping it sticks.
The first point that I forgot is Nolan set up a universe, by the way.
Yeah.
He knew Christian Bale was out, and he knew he was out. But at the end of that third Batman movie, the movie doesn't end with, but it's very closely ends with one of our favorite actors, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, helping people onto a bus out of Gotham, and we find out that his real name is
Dick Grayson.
Dick fucking Grayson, and you're like, so clearly there's going to be another one, right? Like. He's so perfectly set this up.
You can't just throw that away.
Right? Like, what are we going to do with this? But no. Then silence. Radio silence for 6 years, and then we get Affleck as Batman. Which, by the way, you could have easily done. Age him up a little bit. Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing instead of Robin. Just skip that whole portion. And then you have old guy who doesn't have to be Christian Bale. Because old Batman essentially was scary figurehead who didn't fight people. Nightwing went out and actually fought people.
Yeah.
And Batman was just like a figurehead. That was it.
Or you make movies that are so good that the people who think that they were only going to sign up for like 1 or 2 of them decide to stick around for a decade.
I know, Christian Bale's not going to stick around.
I know, but I'm saying like Robert Downey Jr. was only supposed to do like 2 Iron Man movies and then like a couple guest appearances. And then all of a sudden they decided that they were going to do the deal where he like, you know, is the king of Marvel. And then he brought everyone else up with him too.
Have you heard the story about the character of Iron Man, by the way?
No.
It was a challenge to Stan Lee to write a character that everyone should hate, but for some reason they like. And I'm like, if that does not describe Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark in 2008, that's it. Like, wait, you're giving this dude another shot?
We all owe a debt of gratitude to Jon Favreau too for getting this whole thing started. Like,
and then getting left behind.
Because if Iron Man was bad, then we might not be here now. Like they might have reversed course and figured out something completely different.
So I know you'll disagree with this because you didn't like Aquaman, but you did like Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Okay. And I do think you would
I liked Wonder Woman, but I sort of also felt like that was setting up for something else. Yes. And then the thing that it set up for, which was Justice League, was so terrible. It was like, I was really excited when I saw Wonder Woman when I left the theater. But now looking back on it, I'm just like, it's kind of broken because it...
Right. So what we were discussing is how can...
The Brazilian soccer team was really great until they started eating each other. Like,
what Roberto and I discussed walking out of Shazam is how do you keep the good things about DC and lose the bad things? The bad things are Superman and Batman. And they've been focusing too much on Superman and Batman, clearly. But they're integral to the story. So we need to find other stories to tell. I think that the Flash's story is fantastic and has never been done. I think the other guy who's in Teen Titans... who isn't actually, but they put in Justice League.
Green.
No. The robot guy.
Cyborg.
Cyborg. Yeah. I think his story is great. And what they were looking to set up in a Cyborg movie, which apparently is not happening anymore, looked like a really good movie with the dad from Terminator and the son who's like, he's trying to keep him alive and makes him say, I like that. So here's the thing. Wonder Woman and Aquaman are essentially immortal. They could live forever.
Yeah.
So why don't we just take the DC universe and say, let's forget everything that's going on right now. Superman is dead. Batman is a human. We're going to fast forward to 2119. And we're going to have the Wonder Woman we like and Aquaman. And some guy becomes a new Batman that we like better. And we have Superman being dead, but we can have Supergirl or something else. And just like make a new Justice League and build it around Wonder Woman, who everybody likes.
Here's step one. And this is, when I say Feige is the answer, I'm saying this for a very specific reason. When I can't even remember the fucking studio right now. Whatever studio released Star Wars. When they
Disney?
I mean, I guess everything's owned by Disney now. Any movie you could just throw out Disney now, and there's a 50% chance you get it right.
Yeah, maybe. I could,
No, but I mean,
guess.
they basically what happened was, they said like, all right, we want to relaunch Star Trek. Like it's not.
Oh, Star Trek or
Oh,
Star
I'm sorry,
Wars?
Star Trek. Yeah,
Star Trek was Warner
Yeah.
Brothers. Yeah.
we want to relaunch Star Trek. So what we're going to do is we're going to give J.J. Abrams like complete autonomy to just start this thing up.
Yeah.
And then whenever J.J. is done directing these things, he will pass it on to somebody he thinks is worthy of continuing on with this thing. And you basically say like, hey, J.J. Abrams, here's the keys to Star Trek. Have fun.
Yep.
The problem with it, and this is the like type of thing that like you don't notice until you like start making movies and you start getting notes from people. And then like you have to like walk up to your crew or the people who are helping make these decisions. It's like, all right, so they want the villain to make an appearance 20 minutes later in this movie because we haven't seen him for enough time.
Yeah.
So now we have to write a new scene that makes sense in the story that we already had, but maybe it adds something, but the villain comes in and now we have a fight scene.
Yeah.
And then like everyone's like looking at each other. It's like, we have a locked script. We have we have the days planned. We know like what we're going to be shooting on each individual day. And now we're going to write a new scene that may or may not fit with the entire movie that we just wrote. And like, there's going to be 15 suits like lined up against the back wall, like watching us do it. Like just like
passing notes to the camera. Yeah.
Just like if you're at work and you're at your desk and you're just like sending out emails and your boss is just like sitting there looking over your shoulder going like, oh, I don't know if I would have responded to that email. That like, get the fuck out of my back. Like, let me just give it to somebody you trust.
Yeah.
And then let them go. Like, let them do it. Just make a king offer to somebody to run DC.
Yep.
Like to be the person in charge, much like Feige was.
I was gonna say, I still think that they should say, hey, Kevin, how much are they paying you? We will pay you more. Just
and
come
then
over
if
here.
shit goes wrong, just like get rid of the like. Marvel is none the worse for Ed Norton leaving and Ruffalo coming in.
Nope.
And it was weird for a minute, like the first time you see Ruffalo and they're acting like he's been in all these movies before.
Yes.
But you get over it pretty quick. You're just like, 5 minutes after you see it, you're just like, well, it's Hulk.
I feel like, was Jennifer Connelly in the first one?
No, it was, there was
again?
also Terrence Howard and...
Cuba Gooding Jr.?
No, it wasn't Cuba. It was...
No, shit, you're right. Terrence Howard, and who plays him now? Dang. War Machine, though.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Cheadle.
Fuck. Yes, Don Cheadle. Also, let's act like that didn't happen. But
I
again,
couldn't remember the name of the...
Again, to be fair,
There's
though...
37 people who were in this goddamn... Like, 37 stars who were in this goddamn movie. I can forget
but the first Iron Man, they were planning that to be a one-off movie. They're like, all right, we got Downey... We got him locked for 3 because we know he's cheap. And Terrence Howard, you just did Hustle and Flow. You just did Hustle and Flow. So we're going to get you for one movie as this sidekick character. We'd really like you to get in. By the way, if you're Terrence Howard, how much are you just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I could have the #1 movie franchise and one of the #1 shows on television right now at the same time. Oh, Terrence.
Maybe he just didn't want to, like, maybe he was like, the superhero thing ain't gonna fucking last.
Probably so. I know.
We're gonna release fucking Iron Man 3 and it's gonna be terrible and they're never gonna make another superhero movie again. I mean, like, so here's the other thing too. Like, I saw a tweet about this over the weekend because it was the anniversary of Sony buying the rights to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it's when Marvel was in really dire financial straits and they were selling off movie rights.
Yeah.
And the first offer to Sony was for the entire Marvel catalog.
Yep.
Of all the superheroes for $25 million or something like that. And they were just like, well, we don't really want to be spending that kind of money.
Yeah.
And honestly, all we really want is Spider-Man because none of these superheroes are going to work. Nobody's going to want to see an Iron Man movie. Nobody's going to want to see, like Hulk or any of the, like none of these have worked. So they sold off Spider-Man to Sony, and then they sold off X-Men to Fox.
Yeah.
And
there's a couple heroes involved in both. It was Spider-Man plus his universe, basically.
right, and it
they
was
delineated
and
what the
like it was
universe
X-Men plus their universe, which is why like
Deadpool's there.
or like why the
Dark Phoenix?
Fantastic Four.
Oh, Fantastic Four. Yeah.
Because that's sort of tied into the X-Men universe in a way.
Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Ties that all together.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, and how much are they? Well, and to be
I mean,
fair,
it's like all those times where it's just like, like Blockbuster could have bought Netflix for $5 million.
they literally came to that. No, see, and again, that was a like
and
a
they looked at it and they're
$25
just
million.
like, this isn't going to fucking work. Why would
They-
anybody want this service?
They came to them and said they wanted $25 million or something. That was high. Now we would laugh at
Yeah.
it, but they're like $25 million for what? Your internet streaming movie service?
It's like back in the day when you used to hear about like Barry Bonds has signed a contract with the San Francisco Giants. He's going to get paid $5 million this season. And you're just like,
what?
$5 million for a baseball player?
What
Oh
are
my
they
God.
thinking?
Fast forward 30 years and you're just like, Aaron Judge today signed a contract extension, $45 million a season. You're just like,
But more importantly, here's my point. 1992 is when Marvel made that deal with Sony.
yeah.
And the problem was you couldn't have done Iron Man then. You couldn't have done the Hulk then.
No.
You couldn't have done a very good Thor then. Because filmmaking had not made it to the point where you could have a Robert Downey Jr. sit in a black room with this like facial capture for 7 hours and just do his parts of like,
Yeah. But part of the problem is that going back to my point with DC is there's too many fucking suits in the room.
oh, that's true too.
I'm not saying that the executive board of Warner Brothers doesn't deserve to have a place of say in the movie that they're financing and making and releasing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that it works so much better. Any boss will tell you if you just give your employees a task and let them do it.
Yep.
Just leave them alone, and then every once in a while check in just to make sure things went the way they were supposed to. And if there was a problem, say like, hey, this didn't happen the way I wanted it to. What happened? Or you're like, what didn't make the transition?
Yeah.
And then you just like slowly make people better. And that's the way you get results. You don't get results by like micromanaging every little decision.
Yep.
And you can feel 5 executives standing behind
Josh Trank as he makes.
yeah, or like, at Aquaman. You can just get like they might as well had the executives as extras in the movie. Riding
Aquaman was
seahorses.
good. Aquaman was fine. It was a good movie.
Shouldn't he be shirtless? He's really good looking.
Anyway, so this is not even a topic I brought up. I brought this up to mention the fact that I got an email about Cinemia.
Yeah.
And we were at the point I was trying to convince you two to sign up for Cinemia as well. And you said, you know what? I don't really know about this lawsuit deal. We should check that out more. So in order to calm your nerves, because the Fraulines were up in arms about it, I went on a deep dive and tried to figure out the lawsuit deal. And then I said, you know what? It doesn't look like the lawsuit's a problem. But I hear some rumblings.
Essentially movie best.
I hear some rumblings. Let's look into this a little bit more. And then we decided that maybe the risk was a little too high, especially because we had to pay for a year up front.
Yeah.
And hey.
And then you're just like, I'll see fucking 12 movies in a week and then
It'll
I'll
be fine.
and I'll have paid for it anyway.
Yeah.
And then less than a week later.
Well, and then so instead we decided to go with AMC Stubbs A-List, and that has worked out well thus far. I've seen a movie. We got tickets for Endgame, and honestly, we'll probably see a movie this week before we even go to Endgame at the end of the week.
and I mean, like, we're getting to see it in the Dolby Cinema theater, like, which I'm really excited about. Another thing that I probably wouldn't have paid for, other than the fact that like it's essentially free with my membership here.
And we can cancel after 3 months when Alamo opens in downtown LA.
Hold on.
Okay.
Don't just
I'm air quoting it.
Don't just air quote it because
Yeah.
I actually saw a post today on the Alamo Drafthouse Los Angeles Facebook page saying that they're beginning the process of hiring people.
First update.
Which means that
first update on that page in 9 years.
They updated a lot just with other like Alamo corporate things.
Yes. So I mean, listen.
Heathers was released on this day, and
Yeah, Alamo. If Alamo offers a similar thing and it's 5 blocks from us, I would do that.
They will, but I don't know if it will be day one.
Yeah, that'll be the thing. Yeah. Anyway, so we decided to go with AMC over Cinemia, and Less than 48 hours later, Cinemia announced that they would no longer be offering their service.
Yeah,
And by the way,
in the
if
United
you paid,
States, yeah.
if you paid for it, no refund. Sorry about your luck. So dodged a bullet on that one.
Man.
Yeah. Glad that we didn't do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's why I brought it up, and then we went on an adventure here with
Well,
Avengers,
I mean, it's in the news, so I feel like it's good that we talked a little superhero.
And I do want
state of the superhero universe.
Speaking of superheroes, I do want to touch on one thing before we get off of movies here, which is John Singleton.
Yep.
Passed away today, and we never did look up his whatchamacallit, not his biography, but
IMDb.
Yeah, his IMDb page. But like,
by the way, I checked my IMDb earlier, and I'm at a new high.
Oh,
on my pro ranking.
You went to IMDb and immediately pulled up your page. I'm trying to talk about a man who changed the movie industry, and you are focusing on your own page.
No,
I get it.
I was just saying, I was excited about it. I'm in the top 147,000 people in Hollywood.
So.
I mean, I'm basically Harvey Weinstein at this point.
Really? Okay, that's what you want to go with. Sure. But no, Boys in the Hood is obviously probably his most well-known movie.
Yeah.
And was in 91. I definitely didn't see it in 91 because my parents would never have let me see it in 91. But I probably saw it in like 95 or 96. And
I'm pretty sure I saw it like on TV or DVD at some point late. I didn't see it at the time either.
Yeah. But it was like, oh, wait, this is a whole different thing than what I've seen everywhere else. This is a different kind of story, and it's also like looks very different. It's a whole different thing. And it may be the first time that I experienced that kind of like it doesn't all have to be popcorn and the same bullshit over and over again. And I'm looking at like just there, I'm seeing like fucking Poetic Justice. I forgot he did Poetic Justice.
Rosewood too.
Jesus Christ! And you were talking outside about Too Fast, Too Furious, which arguably is the best of that franchise of movies.
Working for white people after watching Rosewood.
Is that Immortal Technique?
Yeah.
Did you just quote Immortal Technique? Good Lord. Who would have thought? He did Michael Jackson's movie. Let me hang on.
That was just a Remember the Time music video.
No, he also did. Yeah, he also did like the his greatest hits thing or something.
No, that was just the music video inside of the
History. Yeah, he did the History music video. Apparently, American Crime Story.
Yeah, he did the race card episode of the OJ, People vs. OJ.
Episode of Billion.
Yeah,
literally did anything. Literally did anything and everything. Mm-hmm. Anyway, an amazing back catalog, if you will.
Yeah, I think that the point I was making outside before we started this was that he came up at just the right time. And like sometimes that is all like obviously he's incredibly talented and like amazing and well respected and everything like that. But you can't sometimes beat the combination of talent and perfect timing.
Yep.
Which like helped him so much of like just like Boys in the Hood at that exact moment just hit like exactly the way it was supposed to. So like, I don't know. And I think we'll be looking back on him a lot more. I mean, like I think film people really knew who he was.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ever like really broke, I don't know if like my mom would know him by name kind of thing.
Not. Yeah.
But like, I feel like later on we're going to start thinking about him a lot better and stuff like that.
And I said that one of the things that he did, was to say, hey, I'm going to put talented people around me, and then I'm going to promote those talented people. It's not about me making more movies. It's about we making more movies.
It was about rising together and stuff like that.
So one of my favorite posts about this has been Ice Cube's tweet, where he was just like, John Singleton found me and turned me into a movie star and helped me become a director, and then was an inspiration as a director for my entire life. And it was a picture of him and John at Cannes in 1990, and just like you see these two young guys, and John in that picture does not look like it, but he is clearly he's not clear. He was at that time like far above where Ice Cube was at that time, but trying to bring everybody up.
Yeah.
And I think 3 people from Boys in the Hood went on to like do more greater acting or directing things. And it seems like he worked with Tupac. Wasn't Tupac in Poetic Justice? That's the
Yeah.
one he was in with
Yeah.
Janet Jackson. Mm-hmm. Janet Jackson and Tupac in a movie called Poetic Justice. Like in '92, when nobody really knew who Tupac was, except for people who were like really into the rap scene. Like,
yeah, and I still maintain that Too Fast, Too Furious is the best Fast and the Furious movie.
Yeah. So anyway, sad day. He had a stroke a couple of days ago, and
it was a couple weeks ago.
Was it weeks?
Yeah, it was April 17th. He had a stroke, and then he was in a coma.
Yeah,
and I think they just sort of realized that this wasn't going to turn around.
Yeah,
so I think they like stopped, not like pulled the plug, but there was something else. They like another way of describing like. They allowed it. I don't remember how they exactly worded it, but
yeah, it was. They removed the assistance machines or something, but I can't remember what the. Anyway, nonetheless, sad day for people in the industry and young. He was a young guy to have a stroke. And,
51,
so it's very sad, and the industry is lost. Is a little less diverse, clearly, and a little.
Well,
less,
I was also pointing this out, like. Black directors sort of like there was Spike for a while was like the first really huge black director to like break, but Spike is very divisive as well. Like there was a feeling amongst the white movie going populace that that Spike Lee was making movies like only for him and only for black people. And like, it was kind of like, even though Spike was trying to promote like everyone being able to see what he was doing, he got typecast into just being a black director per se.
But he kind of leaned into it too.
Singleton, he did. Yeah. No, he definitely did. And Singleton did as well. He definitely leaned into it as well, but he broke a little, like, it was, I was making that Jackie Robinson example, like, Spike had to be the one who took all the shit up at the front.
Yeah.
And then when great directors followed, that kind of like, it helped open the path for other people to come. Yeah. And there's a direct line you can make from, Spike to John Singleton to Coogler today or something like that. The way that this has gone, and it's just a really sad day. I enjoyed John a lot.
Yeah.
So.
And I guess somewhat sad news, especially for fans, but good news in a way as well. Next week, we'll be able to talk about certainly probably the thing that Corey buys this week, which is, I guess it'll be 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Prince has a new album coming out.
Add it on Spotify.
Yeah.
Prince, I don't buy anything.
No, I don't think it'll be on Spotify.
Oh, really?
I think it'll be on Apple Music only. So you'll have to actually buy it.
Or I'll just not listen to it until it's released on Spotify.
You heard it here, State. Make sure you put it on Spotify. Prince has a new album out called Originals, or will have a new album out called Originals, which is an interesting concept, I think. Basically, for people who didn't know, Prince wrote songs for a lot of people.
Prince was outrageously prodigious.
Yes.
And like being able to create movie.
A
little slow on the thing.
Yeah.
It'll be Tidal. Who the fuck is Tidal?
Oh, Tidal's Jay-Z's thing.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like who the fuck actually has Tidal?
Only people who have Jay-Z. Who like Jay-Z.
And Beyonce.
Yeah.
So
it'll be available for streaming shortly after.
There's a lot of these that people would know. Like obviously Sex Shooter and Jungle Love. Those were both in Purple Rain. Mm-hmm. And every single thing that's in Purple Rain was written by Prince.
Yeah.
And then Nothing Compares to You is obviously another well-known one. And Manic Monday. Those are the ones that were the biggest hits.
For other people.
Yeah.
For other people.
Yeah.
And they came from Prince, and now they're releasing the versions he recorded.
Right. And I've heard the original Prince version of Nothing Compares to You. And it's a really great song. It's very more... Sinead made it more of like a ballad.
Yeah.
And it was more of like a softer, like, croonier song, I guess, when Prince did it. So, but, I'm all for more Prince. I don't imagine that Prince would be overly excited about how he's being marketed in this new digital age. Yeah. But, seeing as like when he was alive, just a couple years ago, he was very upset if you put anything of his on YouTube or something like that.
Just
God
remember,
forbid.
Prince fans, although Corey may ask you to, don't post it on YouTube or anywhere public because Prince would not like that. Pay for your music.
Yeah.
And the artist formerly known as Prince would certainly definitely not like you to do that. So
it's such a different world too. Like,
yeah. Good God.
I mean, like, you're really fucking talented when you do all the shit that he pulled with. God, who was it? Was he with Sony before?
EMI.
Originally, like when he did the slave on his face and the artist formerly known as and everything.
Yep. EMI is like the worst fucking company. They're the ones who fucked over 30 Seconds of Mars too. Like every bad story. Oh, and Queen, by the way, if you've seen Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Any shitty story you've heard is like 50-50 shot it was EMI. There used to be a lot more record labels, but you're like, still just guess EMI. You might get it right.
Yeah. I just, I don't know. I think that if any other artist tried to do that shit where it's just like Warner Brothers treating me like a slave, like you just never hear about them ever again.
No, yeah, they're gone. Yeah, sorry about it.
Where'd he go? Wherever Michael Richards lives nowadays.
Ooh. Oh, Michael Richards. Wasn't Michael Richards at the comedy club at the casino we stayed at one time in Las Vegas?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like it was like the Ha Ha Hut in the basement of the MGM or something like that. I'm like,
Circus.
Does that sign say Michael Richards? Is he playing Vegas now? Oh, yeah.
Maybe he's gotten past it.
I don't think he did. I don't think he'd be. He's just playing any place that will take him at this point. Anyway, so new Prince music. Keep an eye out for that.
Playing at this new place called Proud Boys.
Oh, too soon. Anyway, I did want to touch. We were like a little long on time now, but I wanted to talk.
Probably because we spent like 30 minutes right in the
Avengers.
right in the start talking about Avengers.
Yeah, you know what? It happens. But I want to talk a little bit about the changes in the presidential race. Last week we didn't talk much about the race because marijuana. But just to kind of catch you up on some things that have happened in the last 2 weeks. Biggest news: Joe Biden officially in the race, running for president. Corey, good news, bad news?
For who?
I don't know. Let's hear. Let's hear your take.
I mean,
good news for Joe Biden. He's running.
Sure. I mean, he's running for president again.
Yeah.
And I assume he's
fourth
going.
decade that he'll be doing that.
I assume he's going to do better than he did the first 3 times he tried.
I would assume. Yeah. Although, wait, the third time went really well. He was a top contender in the end.
But he didn't win a state. He didn't win a single.
He was still a contender. He was a contender kid.
He was being talked about in the news with the people who actually won states.
Yeah. And he got that nomination as vice president.
I don't know. Like, honestly, I feel like Joe's. I think he could beat Trump. I think that people generally like Joe. I think that he has a chance of possibly finding that center and left side of the party to a degree. Because I feel like if Joe won the primary, then there would be a certain number of people who support candidates and won't break away. Like, like if Mayor Pete won the Democratic nomination, you'd probably vote in the general election for him.
I am not going to vote.
You would be more likely to vote for Mayor Pete.
Yes, I may actually go register and vote.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, if Joe won the primary and became you wouldn't do anything to. Yeah. I mean, it's not like your vote matters either way in Maryland or California. But I mean, like, I think there's something to be said about Joe possibly being able to win if he can get past the primary. But I also don't think that Joe is the best example of what the Democrats should be. But I don't think the Democrats know what they should be doing right now.
So let me propose something that I saw on Twitter this week.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a chance that Joe knows he can't win and doesn't actually want to win, but that the party is seeing Bernie run kind of unopposed, as it were, and saw that Joe was polling high, and they want to make sure that the party doesn't end up too far to the left?
See, but I think that the party, even when they put their hands on the scales, they usually wait a little bit into the process before they do that. Like, it wasn't until we were actually looking at like the Iowa caucuses where the DNC was really trying to like push the scales for Hillary. Like there had already been a little bit of lead up. These are our candidates. We're only really having to decide between these 5 people, and of these 5 people, Hillary is the best for the party, so that's where we're going.
Lessons
and it looks
learned,
like there's support.
Lessons learned, though. If you start earlier, you have to lean less by the time you get to Iowa.
I mean, I think they'll have a debate at some point later this summer with a bunch of candidates, and it'll start clearing itself out, and we'll figure out whether or not Joe has it to win. But I mean, I would vote for Biden over Trump, but I don't want it to necessarily come to that, I guess is my view of it.
Then we're back in 2016 again. It's like I got to hold my nose and vote for somebody that I don't believe in.
I don't necessarily think of it as a holding my nose. To me, Biden is like Biden's like the Trey Mancini of presidential candidates. He's not going to do anything fancy or special.
He won't apologize for berating a rape victim or an abuse victim on the stand.
Joe has a very complicated history because he's been in politics for so long and he's gone through so many different levels of this. But
he won't apologize for incarcerating.
I'm saying he's not.
People.
There's no way Joe Biden at the end, if he won, if he became president, I don't foresee a world where Joe Biden is like, they're finding room on Mount Rushmore for him. You know what I'm saying? He's like a B possible president, like a B level president.
He's a glass of water to cleanse our palate after the Trump years, and then we'll get back to real politics.
But I don't I just don't. The other part of this too is that I kind of want somebody who will go in and go like, all right, a lot of things fucking crumbled around us when we allowed Trump to be president for 4 years. So we're going to shore up some of this shit real quick before somebody else comes along. Yeah. And I don't know if I think Joe wants to keep the status quo where it is, and he doesn't want to change shit. And we're just going to end up in the same fucking situation again when
4 years.
Kanye West runs for president.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
As a Republican, and somehow still doesn't lose any support whatsoever.
Well, I certainly hope that Joe drops out before the end. I don't want him to be in there because I do think he's a spoiler more than anything else. He doesn't deserve the presidency. He never deserved the presidency. The only thing good he did was lend his national security credence to a possible change candidate from Chicago, who then turned out to not be a change candidate.
I think that Joe Biden was a great vice president.
No, he was good. Because
I think that he was able to find a place where he could be sort of like the trusted ear to a inexperienced Obama.
Gave him plenty of opportunities to put his hands on the shoulders and whisper in the ears of many thousands of people.
I don't think Biden is a great candidate. I wouldn't be happy to be voting for him. But I'm saying like if the whole conversation is a Democrat or Trump, and the Democrat that you have to choose from is Biden, then yes, I guess I will go for Biden.
I think that he has.
I mean, honestly, I'll probably vote third party still anyway because literally California doesn't matter. Yeah. So, I mean, if there's a compelling third party who might be able to get to 5%, I'll just throw it away on that.
I think that Joe has the same problem that Bernie has, which is a little bit of condescension towards millennials. And not a little bit, a lot of it of condescension towards millennials. If you've seen the video of Bernie this week where he once again touted that he had marched with Martin Luther King and a bunch of people booed him, and he said, apparently you have no idea how millennials operate because that is about the worst thing you could have done, to just tell them to shut up while you finish your point. And I think it's going to be a lot of that. I am looking at Elizabeth Warren now. I mean, first of all, Pete Buttigieg is the guy who should be president of the United States. He's a fucking Aaron Sorkin character, and it doesn't make sense. Did you see his campaign video where he did a walk and talk?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's not a real human being. I feel like there's an episode of Futurama.
I think there was a quote from somebody who was just like, if Sorkin had wrote Pete Buttigieg into West Wing, then people would be like, no, this guy isn't real. He's too idealistic.
The network would never have let that episode go on because
this is too
they
fake.
cannot do that. Listen, Aaron, we give you a lot of leeway, but this guy is too far. It's a bridge too far.
Seeing as Bartlett was basically Kennedy plus FDR times 15. Like,
but yeah, so I mean, I'm down with Pete Buttigieg, and I think that in a real world, in a good world where things were all equal, he would be the front runner, and he would be on his way to the White House.
Right now, really, all I want is I just want to there's a couple people that I feel like I probably won't vote for, but at this point, nobody has completely lost the potential of being of me voting for them. And I just want to see some debates. I want to see how things go. I want to see if what kind of speed bumps come up along the way and how they deal with them. And then I'm going to make a decision based off of how well the policy platform of the candidates are, how likely I think that they would be to get any of these things passed, and just generally speaking, whether or not I feel like I can trust them to do the right thing when something that I can't foresee happens.
Yes.
Like that, like when for anyone who ever criticized George W. Bush, prior to 9/11, people were just like, all right, well, we can run out the clock on this. It's like he doesn't really know what the fuck he's doing, but he's not really hurting anything. Also, and then all of a sudden 9/11 comes, and then he becomes the person that we're leaning on. And that was it, like the support for him went way up and then went way down once they realized that how badly he fucked things up. But I mean, like,
he ran as a compassionate conservative, which was like a middle of the road Republican. And people were saying, is this a change in the Republican Party? We don't have to be so extreme religious. We're in the middle. But
he was to the right of his father, but not like some of the Republicans are to the right of him now. I mean, at the time it felt like this like new conservative movement, like where it was.
They were trying to address Clintonism. They were like,
I mean, he was McConnell. I mean, W was McConnell in terms of like how to the right he is, and like people were just like, "Ooh, look at this scary new push to the right." You never knew that like fucking Steve King was coming. Coming out of nowhere. Know what was
actual Nazis. Actual Nazis are going to be elected.
Literal Nazis are going to be candidates.
But I'm looking forward to the debates too, because I think Elizabeth Warren is going to mop the floor.
See, but I think that if all the candidates were just their policy platforms and nothing else, then I think Elizabeth Warren would be running away with this thing like crazy. But the problem is that people just don't like Elizabeth Warren. And I really don't know if it's the woman thing, or I really don't know if it's just like
100% the woman thing.
I mean, like I don't think it's 100% the woman thing. I think it's a solid probably 60 to 70% of it's the woman thing.
Yeah.
But I think there's people who would hypothetically vote for a woman candidate who won't vote for Elizabeth Warren.
Maybe.
And what's causing that percentage of people to do what they're...
All I'm saying is, can we at some point in this election stop talking about old white men and start talking about, I don't know, young gay men, women, and people of color as actual candidate choices? Because as long as Joe and Bernie are in this election, it's going to be like, which old white man should we choose to be our representative? And they just need to drop out so that we can get somebody else in. And again, I don't care who it is. I like several of the candidates. Pete Buttigieg at number 1 and Elizabeth Warren number 2 right at this point. But again, I'm not going to vote, so maybe I'm not the one that you should be convincing.
Yeah.
Taking it a little bit closer to home, though, let's take a moment and we can take a stroll on down to the Baltimore Corner.
Where you get the straight dope.
Yeah. So, real quickly, big news out of Baltimore. We have a corrupt mayor. For a change.
Hold on a second. Let me get the breaking news.
So this week, news broke as the FBI executed search warrants on Catherine Pugh's home, and then her other home that's right around the corner from it, and her office at City Hall, and another office that's downtown, and basically took everything, phones and files.
I always like when someone runs is like, I'm a person, like I'm like you. I'm just a normal person, and then you find out that they have 2 homes
in the same neighborhood.
Roland Park,
yeah, in the same neighborhood.
You have 2 multi-million-dollar homes. That's
also
seems like a lot for a public servant.
Really funny thing, when the BPD decides they're going to go square off with the FBI and like, we're going to go park and intimidate these guys. And like the FBI comes out of the house like, what's up? What's up, bro? What are you going to do? If you're feeling froggy, let's do this right now.
All I do is I keep like thinking back to when this story first dropped and we were talking about it.
Just apologize.
It was just like, this like Catherine Pugh is like the fucking epitome of the cover up is worse than the crime.
Yep.
Like her, like this whole process of just being like, shut up, I know what I'm doing. Like this isn't such a big deal. And it's just like, maybe I overstepped my bounds a little bit. And then now I got to have pneumonia for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then like the other thing too is like her lawyer, like had a press conference after they raided like the homes
and his office, by the way.
He went in to talk to her and then he came out and it's just like, what is Pugh saying about resigning? It's just like, she's not really in a place mentally to be making these kind of decisions at the moment. It's just like, motherfucker, she's the mayor.
She's running the city. What are you talking about, man?
Like,
or not running the city.
I mean, like, I know that Jack Young is in charge right now, but at the same time, like,
you are the mayor.
Yeah, like, how do you not understand? There's no way Catherine Pugh doesn't have any comprehension of what she, like, why people are mad. Like, just like they want you to resign. It's like, for what?
For stealing a little money, for giving some contracts, really?
Like walking into Ralph Northam's office and just being like, people are really upset about all this stuff all this blackface stuff. It's just like, really? I didn't expect that to happen.
Why would they be upset?
Like, honestly, God, if Pew would have come out just day one and just been like, listen, I definitely probably did something that I shouldn't have. My lawyer looked it all over and he said it wasn't illegal, but it wasn't in good form. And for that reason, I'm going to write a check for the full amount that I got paid.
I'm going to sell my second home.
I'm going to donate this to charity, and we will move forward as a city. And I'm sorry, like if that would have happened up front, then all these other things that just like add to the snowball rolling down the hill wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But she's just like defiant and like, no, fuck you, I'm the mayor. Nobody can take me down. Like,
it's not like I got some gift cards. All right, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I mean, like honestly, at this point, she's. Like it's so perfectly clear to me that she is using the I'm not resigning thing as leverage for not getting charged with like a crime. Like she's gonna the same thing that happened with fucking Agnew, where he was just like, listen, I'll resign the presidency or the vice presidency quietly, and we won't press charges.
Actually, I got some stuff back in Maryland. Not looking so hot. What I'd really like you to do is to give me blanket immunity for everything, and then I will resign. What was the podcast that you were listening to that was about that?
The Bagman.
There you go.
Yeah.
Everybody should listen to that. I listened to the part of the first episode, and I was like, I feel like this
Rachel
is going to be an
Maddow.
investment.
It was Rachel Maddow who hosted that thing. She is so much better in a podcast format because I don't have to actually like look at her making these points. Like,
also, there's no build to commercial, so she's not like, all right, and we're going to dive right into those documents right after this. She's just going to tell you. She's going to tell you what it is.
She's just going to get there.
And I will say, I don't know that I knew it was Rachel Maddow. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like I listened to it. I listened to like a little bit of the first episode and I was like, oh, I got to find like a couple of days where I can just like dive into this and listen. It's not the kind of thing I can do while I'm working, which is what I do for most of the podcasts I have now. But
I always hate when like I turn on a podcast to something I really want to, like I did this a little bit during the Keith Davis one today where I was just like, listen, I had started it and the first like 5 or 10 minutes I was like really locked in with all the details. And then you like start checking emails or stuff like that. And then you go like, oh, I haven't really been listening for the last 5 minutes.
Back it up. Yeah.
And you just go back and then you get distracted again sometime later. Like the whole thing repeats itself. But definitely go check out the Keith Davis Jr. Undisclosed podcast.
First of all, you should watch or listen to every episode of Undisclosed that's available. Started out with Adnan Syed, not ending, but now continuing with Keith Davis. And there's like 15 cases in between.
The Freddie Gray one too. We talked about a lot when that was out, and that was very good.
And Amelia, who helped out with the Freddie Gray, is the one who is the major source on this one, and she's one of my favorite people from Baltimore. Now from Baltimore because she's moved down to the city, but great reporting, and they're covering everything, and the uproar that it's causing amongst the police department and everybody. I'm like, all right, so we're onto something then. Clearly, okay, cool. Keith Davis.
I mean, it's nice that for a change, one of these true crime podcasts can happen at the same time as the trial does. Like the problem, people get caught up about making a murderer and then realize that.
Oh shit! That was 8 years ago.
He has such a tiny, small little chance of maybe getting an appeal that'll maybe get overturned, and then maybe he'll get over. The chances of Avery walking at this point, unless somebody pardons him, are low.
Yeah, and the governor's
very low.
Governor Scott Walker. So not looking good.
You're looking at maybe a 1% chance that Stephen Avery ever gets released early from prison.
Yeah.
Other than maybe a good behavior thing if he has that worked into his sentence at all.
No,
that's life, right?
It's so he's going to have to serve 45 at least before he even gets considered.
Yeah. So I'm saying the chance that he gets anything less than that is 1%, maybe. But being able to do it in a case that is still open
and on trial,
gives you the opportunity to change things before they go wrong, rather than trying to free Keith Davis later.
And if you like that, also check out To Live and Die in LA, because that's literally the guy is 10 days behind the calendar. And he's just so these are, it always opens with the events that you're listening to occurred on April 14th to April 16th, 2019. And I'm like, he's recording live outside of the Amoeba. I walked past that on those days. That might be in the background of this podcast. But, yeah. Anyway, Undisclosed. Check it out. All of the episodes, but especially the most recent one. One other exciting thing happening in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Corey.
Yes.
Is about to go home and embrace his calling.
Talking about the Ninja Warrior?
Ninja Warrior! So it is infamously, Corey's infamously stated that he is currently in the, what would you say? He could currently run and pass the Ninja Warrior course.
Well, I mean, we watch Ninja Warrior from time to time.
That was Beastmaster.
Well, yeah,
but you did
same
say
difference.
The Ninja Warrior.
Same difference.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, if they want to, I feel like Beastmaster is probably a little bit more intense than the Ninja Warrior.
Sure,
so maybe maybe this would be even easier for me to dominate. But
right.
Did I ever show you the video of Katie Nolan? With a bunch of people who shit talk Twitter,
kickers on Twitters. Yeah. I love that.
It's just chip shot field goal. I could have made it. It's do you remember how long that field goal was? And they cut to the clip, and it's just lining up for a 52-yard field goal.
And then the guy's just no, I got this.
Justin Tucker maybe makes the 52-yard field goal 80% of the time, and he's the best, most accurate kicker in NFL history.
Gosh.
It's ridiculous. There's the other.
Wait, so are you backing down from your statement that you could pass the Ninja Warrior course?
I'm just saying that clearly there's a lot of people who do this type of thing and shit talk and say I could fucking do that, and they can't. But you know what's different between them and me?
What's that?
I'm me and they're them. And I could fucking do this shit.
So Corey's flying home to Baltimore to run the Ninja Warrior course.
I'm going to do it in a ninja outfit, too.
Do you ever see the movie Beverly Hills Ninja?
Like Farley? Yeah. Yes. I'm just going to have a little belly hanging out, going across the monkey bars,
Got it. Best time of the day right there.
I've never seen somebody so fat and so athletic at the same exact time, says the host of Ninja Warrior.
Here are my two concerns with it. Number one, your competition is going to be guys who are maybe have experience running from the police in Baltimore and maybe are going to be able to run that course with spectacular time. Yeah. It's jumping from building to building, I've had to do that my entire life. You look at a cop the wrong way, he starts chasing you have to run. I get it. The other thing is, I'm worried about the Baltimore police being security guards, because if any of the competitors are black and they start to run the course, you might just see a sergeant come out of nowhere and just tackle the guy and take him down into the pit and be like, wait, what? I'm sorry. Instinct just came in. I don't know what came over me. I'm sorry. My apologies. Let's get him back up there and get him running again. And then 2 seconds later, baton, bam! Oh, yeah. So I'm looking forward to you running of the course. I think we can keep
as everyone
updated.
is.
Yes. We'll keep everybody updated and
see if I can make it home. Get it. I mean, I'm sure if I just told them I'm coming home, then they'll just be like, "Well, we've been saving a spot just in case you decided to make it." You know.
We've heard about your exploits on the internet.
Just if the XFL, if all of a sudden it's just call to Vince McMahon, it's just hey, I know you're starting this XFL thing. I thought I'd join your league. I'm sorry, who is this again? Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Is there space in me for your league? I imagine we can make some space. I think
To be fair, all the teams have already been filled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start another franchise.
You're gonna have to get in line behind He Hate Me. Before. Sorry, Aaron. There's strict rules about how we're putting together these teams.
Very fair. It's very fair. Nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with money at all. It's about the game. Much like the American indoor football league or whatever just folded.
Did you hear about all the stories with that shit too?
Yeah, it's a shit show.
Like where like people were like they had like booked hotels and the team had paid for them.
Yeah.
And then like a week after the league had folded, like all these people get charged for all the hotel rooms that the league was supposed to pay, the teams were supposed to pay for on their personal credit cards.
Yep.
It's just like, yeah, I woke up one morning and I lost my job, and I woke up the next morning and then I had $17,000 worth of hotel bills on my credit card.
Oh yeah, and how the entire league was funded by like $200 million by one guy, but it turns out he put in 40 and was like, no, I'm good for the rest, and then just never putting the money in. Yeah.
Well, I think the whole plan was let's get bought by the NFL as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And then the NFL realized like, oh, these things just go out of business and we don't have to worry about it.
Well, I think they missed an opportunity because really it could have been the farm league for the NFL, the spring league for the NFL, and
See, but these things don't like. I know that every league to a degree is like interested in sort of going more global.
Yeah.
So like the NFL for as long as they're been in NFL have wanted to like expand to Europe and stuff like that, and baseball's wanted to do the same thing.
Yeah.
More so like in like North America and being able to like include like Mexico and Canada and stuff like that, and then further from there. But like, the problem is that for anyone who watched the Alliance Football League was just like these guys just aren't as good as the players I'm used to watching, and that's always the problem with a secondary league.
It's the thing where like we have
if you made a league that was literally like NFL minors and it was like minor league baseball, and there were teams that had players on them that could be assigned to the big league team, if you will.
Yeah.
That would be a big different, because then you could stash people in your minor league team, and then you could watch the minor league games and go like, why isn't this fucking wide receiver is electric? He'd be great with the Ravens. And then
if I'm a wide receiver, I'm saying, why am I playing in the Alliance League? I'm going to blow my knee out and be nothing.
Well,
there's no reward.
This is an opportunity for you to get on the
if it's a minor league associate or a minor league affiliate of a team, NFL team, then yes, there's a direct line. I could see the reward. But
if you go back to like the XFL, there were players who got signed from
four players who got signed.
Yeah, but I'm saying the four best players from the XFL ended up going to the end. Those were the four players who were worth. Think about the number, like we just got done with the NFL draft. Think about the number of people who play college football.
Yeah.
And how many of them actually got drafted or will get signed by a team, and how many of them will actually have a job playing football just this fall. Like as the new season begins. On week 1, how many of the people who are playing college football this year or this past season are going to be in the NFL this season? It's less than a tenth of 1% or something like that.
I honestly don't even think it's that high, because a lot of them they're going to be like, hey, we're going to put you on the practice squad, or
Yeah. But I'm saying
you're not going to play.
Yeah, but you could be there. So how many fucking picks was it? Like 200 something picks, 248 picks in the draft or something like that. So like
nine rounds of 32.
Yeah.
So that's 3 per 100, and they did 7 rounds, right?
Yeah, but then there's also like extra picks for like compensatory and
right.
all
So
that
like 250 maybe 240,
something like that.
Yeah.
But I just you need to realize that the odds of, if you're a high school player, the odds of making a major college are so low.
Yeah.
And the odds of going from a major college to the NFL are even very lower than that. So,
and what every non-NFL league shows us is that the talent difference is there for a reason. The reason you didn't make an NFL team is because the talent gap is so big. And yes, the 50 NFL wide receivers all look basically the same. But the difference between those 50, and it's more than 50, but those 50 and number 51 is kind of a gulf.
Yeah.
if you are as talented as you need to be to play on the NFL, you'll find a place to
even
play.
a player who's like remember when Rashad Perryman was just like dropping passes for the Ravens all the time? The difference in skill between him and the person who isn't in the league and was like on the outskirts of being able to get in is humongous.
Well, unless you're a quarterback who takes a knee. That's better. Different problem.
Then clearly you don't do.
And I mean,
your talent has gone away. You're not allowed to.
The Rashard Perryman thing is like, we look at him and we're like, why would you keep a guy who can't catch a pass? And you're like, 'cause there's nobody else. Like the next guy who in line,
the other guy can't catch a pass either.
He can't catch a pass, and he's like 0.2 of a second slower down the field. At least we can just send Perryman on the flag route and draw the safety. Like, come on.
By the way, welcome to the Ravens to Hollywood Brown. I'm excited about his. You didn't see any of the draft.
Could not care less. Again, because the point is, how many of those players are actually going to sign their contracts?
Well, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty secure that our first round pick is going to sign a deal and be there.
Maybe.
But it's Antonio Brown's cousin, Hollywood Brown.
Is his name actually Hollywood?
No, it's Marquise, but he's from Hollywood, Florida. So I think like he sort of like got the nickname Hollywood because of that.
Okay.
So,
sure. And what position does he play?
Wide receiver.
Okay, so that's good.
He had an injury. He has a Liz Frank injury right now, which he's coming back from. But the word on the street prior to the injury was that the second he was drafted was going to be the moment that he became the fastest player of the NFL history.
Okay.
So he's supposed to be a wide receiver that will just be able to like smoke people down the sideline and just give Lamar the opportunity to keep teams very honest.
Well, as long as Lamar has figured out,
he might be the Tyreek Hill for the Ravens offense there, you know?
If Lamar has figured out how to throw a ball downfield more than 20 yards, this will be good news.
It'll be better this year.
I'm hoping. We'll see. We'll see. Because I've completely given up on the Orioles, and nobody cares. Corey still watches.
I put on the games, you know, just to see them losing to the White Sox, but
and everybody else.
Yeah, well, and other teams as well. Just the White Sox currently.
Yes.
All right. Well, if you want to talk about other teams that the Orioles could lose to, you know where you could go for that?
Where's that?
OTheAnthem.com. Corey with theanthem.com. Corey at OTheAnthem.com. O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. You can find more of me at my website, CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/CoreyBakerFilm, at LegendCB5 on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And we will definitely see some movie this week.
Yes.
I have to be on set tomorrow, but maybe after that, or you wouldn't want to do a late movie. Well, but we'll figure one out because I need to do a review.
Stubs, we can see a movie any day.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, AMC Stubbs A-List. We can see a movie anytime.
AMC Stubbs A-List, brought to you by
Brought to you by Dolby Atmos.
Did you see the thing I posted on the Onion article on Twitter where it was this like Flamin' Hot Nachos Park or Flamin' Hot Doritos Park drawing criticism from?
Yes. Like they're selling out. They're only looking for money.
Anyway, I'll do a review this week because I'll see something this week. And then Avengers will be next week. So stay tuned.
All right, and of course, you can find more of me at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks, as it says right there. Don't check out my website because apparently it doesn't work. We found that out a few weeks ago. Still haven't fixed it. But The Movement, Tales of Valor and Villainy, available on ebook everywhere, including Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Make sure you're following not only my stuff, but you can find The Movement Universe on Instagram, The Movement Insurrection or The Movement Series on Facebook and Twitter. And Corey and I are going to work on getting figuring out what draconian measures are required by Barnes & Noble and Amazon and other real book publishers in order to get the books out, the physical books out. So hopefully that'll be happening this week. And Corey's playing with his thing right now. So playing with his thing right now. Yes. Anyway,
it's exactly what it sounds like.
His Surface. Anyway, so look for more of that, and of course the books, which are all available on Amazon.
Buy Rob's books.
Thank you. And more places. We're working on getting the back catalog up everywhere as well. So look for more beautiful covers by one William C.P. Baker.
One Legend CB5.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody. Oh, hey, there's me. Hey, I'm just me on the screen here. How am I doing hanging out? I'm just kidding. There it is.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, it's Baker. Anyway, have a good week, everybody.
Arrivederci.